Hi everyone and welcome to this video. In this video, we're going to learn about data types in SQL. If you're someone who has just searched data types on YouTube and you have found this video is actually a series. This video is actually a video from a SQL for beginner series. You can actually go to the YouTube channel and find the entire series. I think before this video, we have around 20-22 videos, and after this videos, we also have about 7 to 8 videos that will teach you fundamentals of SQL. And in fact, it's a pretty nice video series. All right, so data types. So we have definitely learned about data types in programming language such as C, C++, Java, C Sharp, Python maybe, and there we use data types to define the variables. The variables, what kind of value those variables are going to store. Similarly, when it comes to the SQL ecosystem, we use these variables to define what kind of data a particular column is going to store in your table. Now, all this time we have been running the queries, and when we do it in the output section, we see a column has maybe let us suppose we have a film table. So a column will have film ID, it will have the film name, it will have its film duration. So film ID is only going to have numbers, film name is only going to have the string values, whereas the length is only going to have the numeric values. So we use these data types when we create the table. So when we are creating the table, we need to define the column name and the data type it is going to store. And each column only stores a particular data type, not more than one. So there are about 4 to 5 different kinds of data type in SQL. Namely, we have numeric, we have strings, we have date and time, binary, and then special data type. So let's quickly go ahead and look at each of them very briefly. This is going to be a very theoretical video. So bear with me. So if you want to store integer, you can use int. It stores both positive and negative values. And if you want to store a very big number, you can also use big int. And for small numbers, you could be using small int. For decimal values, you could be using either decimal, or you could also be using float values. Then you also have real and bit. Depending upon your situation and your use case, you can use any one of these. I'll give an example that if I ask you to go ahead and create a column that will store the contact numbers, you may think that, okay, contact numbers are usually very big, maybe 10 to 12 digits, which variable type I'm going to use. So you'll say that, okay, maybe I'll use the big int. But if you go to Google and search what is the data type that we should be using for phone numbers, you will come to a conclusion that the best data type to use that is varchar, and that brings me to the other data type, that is strings. And why do we actually choose varchar for the numbers? Because you don't want to perform any mathematical calculation on the phone numbers, so there is no point of taking a very a kind of data type that takes a lot of your memory. So that's how you need to think, and maybe do a little research whenever you create a column. And in the strings or character data types, you have char, varchar, text, and varchar, and char, and character large object. The two most important thing that you need to focus is the char and varchar. Char is used for fixed length string. You define the number of digits you want to store, and then you use varchar for variable length string. These are the two you're mostly going to use along with the text. Then you also have date and time, which is super important. If you're working in any of the table, there are good chances that a table we have updated time, created time. So having the knowledge on how to use date, time, timestamp, date, time, interval is super important when working with these SQL tables. And we also have binary data types. From binary data types is usually going to use the binary, which is used to store fixed length binary. You can actually define it, and if you need a variable length binary, you can also use var binary. Blob is usually used to store the binary data of the image. In the beginning, when you're learning SQL, you're not going to use blob, but you may end up using binary or var binary. Finally, we come to our last data type, that is the special data type. And out of JSON, XAML, and enum and geometry, the last one you're not going to use it. But if it's a production table, you'll definitely find JSON, XAML, and enum. These are popular way to store your key value structured data. And if you're working with APIs, there are good chances that some of your data in your table will be stored in either of these 3 formats. Finally, I'll give you 4 tips on how you should be choosing a data type. The first one is that pick the smallest data type that can accommodate your data to optimize storage, because if you end up choosing a very big data type, it's going to take a lot of your memory and it's going to hamper your application performance. Second, if you want to use the fixed length data, use char data type, and whereas if you need a variable length data, pick for varchar. And if you want to perform a lot of calculations, you should be using decimal or numeric data types. Finally, if you want to store any kind of media or file data, pick for binary types. In the coming videos, we're going to learn on how you can create your own table. That is where the knowledge of these data types will be important. And we're also going to learn about primary keys and foreign keys. So that is all I have in this video, and I'll see you in the next videos.